Hi everyone, thank you for joining our December Florida Broker Roundtable with Robert Milligan. Before we begin, I want to say how happy we are to now offer a ton of great free marketing tools to all of our agents. These are now available in the AGI University. Our goal is always to give back to our agents by offering the newest tools and technology to you. None of this would be possible without you and your amazing amount of agent referrals to AJI. As Allison James continues to grow with agents referring other agents to our brokerage, we will be able to provide more of these tools to you. Remember, you can earn a monthly or yearly residual payment simply by having an agent join us. All you need to do is contact Jeff Jabora or Alicia Aratari in our National Growth and Development Department and provide them with the contact information of the agent who you would like to refer over. I would now like to introduce Robert Milligan. Good morning, Robert.
Hey Sheena, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. And I thank everybody for taking the time to be here with us this afternoon. And I'm just going to give a quick presentation, probably no more than 10 minutes, about just some ways to make sure that you've got your business all set for what's in our area, our season. In Florida, our season typically runs from January to the end of April, a little bit after Easter time, whenever our population swells to more than double. And a lot of people are here to buy and sell. And, you know, I think that there's a few tips, a few pointers that I'd like to leave with you just to make sure that you have your business aligned in a way that you're going to be able to make the most of this exciting season. I think it's going to be a great real estate year. I think that interest rates are going to, while they're going up a little bit at the moment, I think they're still going to be relatively good. I think there's going to be more lending programs available to our customers. I think there's going to be more inventory and more choices for our buyers in most of the Florida markets that we're in. So I think all in all, this is going to actually be a really great year for real estate. So, you know, just some tips. I think that it would be smart to start gearing yourself up to conduct some open houses and to make sure that you have some buyers with an urgent need. You know, what I like to always focus on is to make sure that I have 3 buyers that have an urgent need that they must be physically living somewhere within 60 to maybe 90 days. And make sure that I'm spending most of my energy with those buyers, because I do believe that if you have buyers in your world that are 6 months or more out, you know, it's easy for us to get tempted to working with those buyers if we don't have more urgent buyers directly in front of us. I think that, you know, we need to be really intentional to make sure that if we don't have buyers with an urgent need, that we instead use the energy that we have on obtaining those buyers. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind. I think one trap that I see a lot of times at this time of year whenever the season comes on us is that we're doing our open houses maybe to connect with buyers, and then we have snowbirds that are all in town that, you know, maybe this is the 15th, 16th, 17th, 20th, 30th, 100th year that they come and visit Florida. You know, and they always come into our open houses and they say, this is the year that we're going to buy. And I promise you, it's not the year that they're going to buy. They're never going to buy. But, you know, just get good at asking them questions to figure out if they have a legitimate need or not. And I do feel like that working with buyers, if you're in a place in your business, is probably the quickest way to get yourself set up for a payday. So buyers are somewhere to put some energy this year, because you're going to have more options and more inventory for them to choose from. I don't think there's going to be quite as many multiple offer situations. So that's something to keep some focus on. I think that, you know, this is a great time to work with sellers too, depending on the place that your business is at. I think that sellers now are becoming a little bit more realistic. They're still optimistic, but, you know, some ways to focus on working with sellers. And I think here's a principle that I always lean back on and try to keep at the top of my mind, that we are participating in a real estate market. And I think it's difficult, especially for newer realtors, to understand exactly what their role or their function is in the market. You know, we're not here to try to make the market something that it's not. I saw a proverb in a book that I read not long ago that I thought was interesting, where it was said that instead of trying to pave the whole world to suit your purposes, instead focus on making yourself a pair of sandals. So I thought that that was kind of a neat thing to think about and ponder. It's one of those things that makes you scratch your head for a while maybe. But what that meant to me is that instead of trying to make the whole world conform to what I'm trying to do, just figure out a resourceful way that I can participate in what's going on all around me. And so what I mean by that is, you know, if you think about the market, you know, if you've got, I think the best way to think of it maybe is like a farmer's market where you're trying to go buy some tomatoes and cucumbers or something. I mean, if we're representing a buyer who wants to buy tomatoes for no more than $3 a pound, and tomatoes everywhere are selling for $5 a pound, I don't think it would be very profitable to spend time with that buyer. And in contrast, if we're working with a seller of tomatoes and the market price is $5 a pound, and this seller is not going to sell for anything less than $7 a pound, I don't think it would make a lot of sense to spend a tremendous amount of time with that seller unless it's a good relationship that you think is going to correct over time. So always keeping that in mind, I think, at the beginning of the journey when you're meeting with customers, is find somebody who actually has intention of doing what the rest of the world is in alignment with doing. And I think if we just qualify our customers a little bit better, I think that that's going to be something that's going to serve us really well. I think something else that's really important that we need to focus on and need to make sure that we're doing a good job of, that I see a lot of realtors just kind of do surprisingly poorly at, is building your database, building your book of business. I feel like as a realtor, especially at the beginning, there's a lot of hustle involved in getting your business off the ground, and the only way that you can actually build a solid, stable, repetitive, routine business is to build your database. And I think that the gold standard from most coaches and most programs that I've seen is that you need to be putting at least 2 people per day into your database. And if you don't have a database, you're kind of missing the boat here, because that's whenever your business is on autopilot. That's whenever a couple years from now you can stop putting so much energy and effort into generating new business and new customers. I know that there's been a lot of studies done in a lot of different industries. It's much more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to cultivate and sell something to a repeat customer. So it's absolutely the same way in our business. So some strategies for that, I mean, it might seem at first, especially if you're not in the practice or habit of it, that coming up with 2 new people to add into your database every day is going to be a difficult thing to do. And at first it definitely is a challenge, but it can become a habit. And I think that if you're having authentic real estate conversations with people everywhere that you're at, if you're enthusiastic, whether it be door knocking or open house or standing in line at the grocery store, wherever it is, most people that you encounter own property. So most people are not getting any significantly great information about the property that they own from any trusted professional or advisor. So what I would do at a grocery store line, or door knocking about maybe another property that you have for sale down the street or something that's recently sold in the neighborhood, just simply ask sellers that may have, property owners that may have no intention of selling anytime soon. Just ask them, hey, would you enjoy getting some information about the sales that occur in the neighborhood, maybe just once a month, an email with a quick update, some of the other sales that, will have a material effect on the equity that you have in your own home. I think, in my experience, and I know from experience, that most people would definitely enjoy getting that information monthly, not an everyday email that becomes an annoying nuisance, but just a monthly report of all the properties in their neighborhood within a few streets that have come up onto the market, things that have sold, because that does have a material impact on the equity in their own home, and that's information that they definitely would enjoy receiving, and ideally, if they're receiving it from you, then you're going to be viewed as the trusted advisor whenever 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road they're thinking about selling, and of course you're going to be the one that's at the top of the mind. So I think that that's something that's really important, and that's just one strategy to build your database. I mean, we all have our warm markets, we all have our friends contacts, our family. If you really get intentional about building your database, I think that you'll be surprised how creative that you can be in thinking of ways to connect with people, to add value. And I think that another way to do it, that for many reasons, not necessarily for a selfish reason, I think it's important to get involved a little bit, not in your community. Get involved in some charitable endeavors, maybe some different community activities, outreaches, maybe some just strategic areas where you can help plan events, so you can connect and meet with a lot of people. And you'd be surprised how many well-connected, influencing people in your community are not getting any great real estate information from a professional. And if your town's anything like our town, I mean, there's literally 2% of our population in Sarasota, Manatee County has a real estate license. So there are realtors everywhere here, but there's a lot of very, very influential, even affluent people who are not necessarily getting good information from the 40 or 50 realtors that they're friends with. So look for those opportunities to be the one to get their email address and get their permission to send them that kind of information. I think the other thing that is important to brush up on to take advantage of the season is just brush up on your contract skills. I think that the one thing that we all need to go into the season with is some more confidence. And the contracts have changed a little bit. They always change just in terms of the new CFPB rules and some of the things that the time period requirements and all these sorts of things. get organized and get confident. Make sure that you have a great system as we're coming into season where ideally you'll be putting more properties under contract than maybe you have during the summer months, where you've got a great system in your calendar to remind you automatically whenever the inspection contingency period is about to expire, whenever the mortgage financing contingency period is about to expire. Make sure that you have confidence that you're going to be able to do a great job for your customers and you're not going to miss those important dates. Make sure that you can read the contract upside down, backwards, forwards, every which way, that whenever you are sitting in front of a customer, maybe across the table with the contract upside down, that you can go through each line and, not to a laborious extent, but whatever they're curious about or interested in knowing about the contract, make sure that you feel proficient, that you can explain that to them. I think that make sure that you sharpen up on your negotiation skills as we approach the season. I think that it's important to start the relationship off appropriately, especially with the seller. I think it's important to differentiate yourself as a professional and let them know what the expectancy is going to be. I work in a team format. A lot of our agents work in a team format. Let the sellers know who they're to be expected to talk to, whether or not you're available after 5 p.m., whether or not you work weekends. These are all important things to give a little bit of forethought to, and I know some of you might be rolling your eyes to say, I work all the time, I answer my phone all the time, I'm always available on the weekend, and that might be your strength. That might be the way that you choose to conduct your business, or maybe you choose to conduct yourself as a team lead with support staff and other agents that are working with your buyers, and so you might want to, let the customer know that you are a professional, no different than a doctor or a lawyer or anybody else that you make an appointment to, and you just can't pick up the phone and simply interrupt and call and get that information. So I think it's smart to get organized, get confident, make sure that the flow of your business is going to be in a place that you're prepared to handle that you're not going to miss any of these important dates. And I think more than anything, just be open to opportunities. I think that there's going to be a lot of people coming into our market, a lot of people in different areas, lots of heavier traffic and open houses. Get confident at asking the right questions, make sure that you're qualifying people properly, and make sure that you're not spending any time with people that are going to waste your time. There's a lot of people out there that are, they're going to take your time and take advantage of you if you allow them to. And not to say that we're not supposed to, be nasty to anybody, but we also need to be aware of there's some people who have more urgent needs than others. There's some people that are more serious than others. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with us learning how to better prioritize who's really needing energy in our effort, who's really deserving of our energy in our effort. So I think those are just some things to think about, some things to brush up on. And of course, if you have any questions about your contracts or any questions about anything in general for that matter, I'm always available by phone or by email. And I know sometimes, Sheena, you open it up to a few questions and answers after this little presentation. So if you have anything now, that's fine, or whatever.
Yeah, actually, it looks like we do have a question from Troy Funk.
Sure.
He said, would you recommend a free CRM like inslightly.com if we don't have the funds to pay for a CRM?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's a great question, Troy. I appreciate that. I'm not personally familiar with that one, but I think that the important thing that I would focus on with any CRM system would be that your contacts that you put into it are going to be exportable, preferably, in my opinion, to a .csv file format. And the reason I say that is because I think the worst possible thing, and this does happen from time to time, would be to invest a lot of time or energy into a CRM system that you, if you decide to make a change in the future, that you cannot get your contacts out of it, and so they're essentially holding you hostage. You can't leave because you can't take your contacts anywhere. So whatever system you pick, yes, I don't think that CRM needs to be expensive. I know a lot of agents have decent CRM available depending on the association of realtors you belong to. In my Florida regional system, we actually have a pretty good one right through Matrix that will automatically email property data. But I think the big takeaway here is make sure whatever CRM you start building, that it's something that you can export your contacts out of if you decide to have a change of plans later.
All right, perfect. One more question.
Mm-hmm.
If all the charities in our community are already oversaturated with realtor members, how do you feel about starting a meetup for something you are passionate about, like vegan potlucks?
Oh, I think that that's a fantastic idea, actually. I think that there's a lot of niche opportunities in any market. I think that meetups have worked really, really well in our market area in particular. We've had we've used our office as a meetup location for various interests, for real estate meetups, for I think we've had filming, like videographer meetups, we've had vegan meetups, we've had all kinds of stuff in our office, and it's been a really win-win situation to just get some eyeballs and energy from the community in our office. And yeah, there are a lot of people in our community especially that are getting involved in charities, and there's a lot of realtors that are involved in different charities. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's not room for one more. I mean, yeah, a lot of people like me right away when they meet me, and a lot of people don't like me whatsoever when they meet me. So the same is true for any realtor. Just because there's another realtor involved in a particular situation doesn't mean that everybody's going to click with them or not click with them. So I think that just the key is that whatever you do start, I think that you need to make sure that you're passionate enough about it that you follow through with it. Because if you start out in a charitable situation and you're trying to kind of be opportunistic about it, and you don't really feel like it's something that's important to you, it's not going to last, and it's the same is going to be true for a meetup. So yeah, that's a great question.
Perfect. Well, it looks like there are no other questions here.
Very good. Well, as always, I appreciate your time and attention, and if there are any legal questions, of course, I want to be proactive to help you through those kind of issues, and anything that you need, we're here for you.
And thank you everyone so much for joining us. We would like to give a huge thank you to Robert Milligan for another great presentation today, and to everyone who joined us, and we hope to see you all next month. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Sheena. Bye, everyone.